Hello and welcome to my channel to plan for. Today I want to show you how I use my bullet journal at work on a daily basis. So not only just the setup part, but actually how I used the spread I set up in my last video throughout the week. For me, my bullet journal is very essential to stay focused, to accomplish all my tasks. It's a main factor in my productivity, and I think I'm a rather productive person, and a big part of that I attribute to my notebook. So I thought I wanted to share it. Of course, my note-taking changed over the years dramatically. I currently work as a solution architect, and like 10 years ago when I was a developer, I was concerned on a daily basis with completely different things, and that was obviously also reflected in my note-taking system. But just to give you a quick insight what we are talking about, so that is my weekly spread, and then I have here my daily pages. So my note-taking system is, or let's say my planning is definitely a hybrid system. As I just mentioned, I work as a solution architect. That means working with other people, with my team, with other teams, and that obviously happens in a digital space. Also, my job is a lot about digitalizing processes and workflows. So it just makes sense that most of that stuff happens in a digital space. My notebook usually is for my, well, first of all, personal notes that only concern me, not any other team member or other person, but also it's very often like the step one to creating some kind of digital document afterwards. So like setting up a meeting digitally, or creating documentation digitally, like, I don't know, Confluence, or creating a task or a story for somebody to implement in Jira, in a digital space. So it's definitely a combination of analog and digital, but for the stuff that only concerns me, I really prefer the analog way. It just works out the best for me. Over the years, I tried different systems, different tools, obviously also digital ones, and when new tools become popular, I still will give them a try, simply because I'm curious what's coming out and how work changes for people. But also maybe I find someday something that works better than pen and paper for me. So far I have not found that, and yeah, I doubt that will be ever the case, but we'll see. Okay, so maybe back to the start. What do I even use? So my journaling supplies for work are very limited. I have one pen pouch with all the pens I need, and my Lockbee folio with the notebooks I use. So this is my pen pouch for work. I have another one. This one, that's my personal one. But in here are all the tools I use at work. And as you see, it's not much for multiple reasons. So when I work, I focus on work. I don't have the time or the mind to think about, oh, what pen to use, I don't know, what highlighter, what marker, whatever. I have my main pen, and that's it. That's what I use 95% of the time. So my main pen is this Pilot Vanishing Point with a medium nib. And this pen just got a new partner for 2026. I don't change my pen and ink pairing for work very often. For my personal stuff, it's completely different. But for work, this can stay the same for a very long time. So currently I have the Colorverse ink Cosmic Reef in here. It was part of the Color Event 2025. And I really like the color. It works perfectly fine in this pen. So I think this will stay in here for a long time, and I will just, it's not very unlikely that I will re-ink this pen with the same ink for the rest of the year. So my main writing tool. I really like to write with fountain pens, and I also have to take many notes throughout the day, but usually it's a word or two, maximum a phrase, a sentence. So that's why I love this vanishing point with the clicking mechanism. It's way more handy than having to uncap a pen and put the cap somewhere, then it, I don't know, rolls down the desk. Yeah, it's for me the best tool I have found so far, with the advantage of using a fountain pen and still having it meet my needs of constant note taking, very short stuff I write down, but that very often. Then I have here a Stabilo marker, which we'll see what I use that for in a minute, and a Faber-Castell metallic marker, which I use for the dates, and a Faber-Castell pit art pen brush in red. Yeah, India red is it's called. We'll also see what I use this for, and a clip. And that's basically all I need for my journaling or note-taking throughout the week. Okay, so as I said, I have my notebooks in this Lockbee Folio B5, and I have 2 inserts in here. I use a kind of bullet journal method, and if you're familiar with bullet journaling, there you have things like collections, and for me this just means I have one notebook where I keep stuff which I want to reference later on, like reoccurring meetings when I want to like take notes every single week what we discuss at the meeting, so I can just see, okay, what did we say last week, what did we agree upon, or long-term tasks. Let me see. I also write my hours here. That's farther in the future, so it's still empty, calendar, things like that. But what I use mostly is the second notebook here. Let's just get this out of the way. And that is where I actually take my notes. And yeah, that's the weekly spread. And after the weekly spread, I have my daily section. So it's always the same pattern. I have a weekly setup, and afterwards my daily notes. And when I take my notes, a B5 is rather big. Especially at home, my table is not so big, so and that's where the clip comes in handy. So I usually have my notebook on the table like this. So it uses up half the space, and well, I can use both sides. I mean, wherever I write, I can just flip, go back to the previous page, but usually I have it flipped over like that. And That's one of the reasons why I switched away from the Archer and Olive notebooks. They are really nice, but first of all, you can't do that with an Archer and Olive notebook. And I don't need the thick paper. I always like the covers. They're very beautiful. I still enjoy them. But yeah, I thought I'd give this system a try, and so far it works really fine for me. Okay, so weekly page, weekly spread. I have my sections for each day where I write down what's my main priority for the day. And that's something I do usually at the end of the day to write down the priorities for the next day. And it's also the first thing I do in the morning, take a look at this page. And so I immediately know, okay, what should I be focusing on today? Or maybe even give me a heads up, okay, maybe it's Tuesday, and oh yeah, there's something coming up on Friday. Yeah, maybe I should already start working on that, whatever. So that's the last thing I look at in the evening before I shut down my computer, and that's the first thing in the morning I open up to see, okay, what is the goal of the day? What should I be doing? Then when we go to the daily section, this is a B5, as I mentioned, and I don't need the width of a B5. I usually only write down a word to phrase, so it's more efficient for me to split the page in half, to have like 2 columns, and so I definitely get more out of the page and still have enough space to write. I tried to do this with an A5 also, but with an A5, 2 columns, I don't know. B5 is definitely my size, well, my currently preferred size. So then I just start my daily notes, usually start with the date on top, and then do my note taking, whatever comes up. So I don't know, if we have a meeting, I take notes during the meeting. Somebody says something, I don't want to forget it because I want to reply to it. Things like that. Or we have a call, and from the discussion, some tasks pop up, or yeah, just everything goes in here. Or here, as you see, I had to calculate something. I don't know anymore what that was, but yeah, it's just always on my table, and it gets used for everything that comes along during the day. And for the symbols, I already mentioned it's kind of a bullet journal style I do, but I definitely have my own symbols. Like with a bullet journal, you would have like this little dot for a task, and that's with the way I write and this all being a bit messy, not visible enough for me. So I usually, when I have a task, I make a box. And once I've started a task, but it's not completed, I fill the box out half. And if it's done, I just color it completely. For whatever reason, if a task gets not started or completed, I have my red marker here, and that's something I use then to show myself, okay, here's something that still needs my attention. And also my stabilo comes in when I have multiple tasks and I got completed, and I don't want to, like with my fountain pen, fill out the little box. Then I have this one, and it's just like much faster to mark tasks as completed, especially if I have finished multiple things at a time, and then it's just quick go through them. Okay, so then once a day is over, I just put there a strip of washi tape to mark, okay, it's the end of the day, and afterwards I just put the date of the next day. And depending on what is on my schedule, the amount of notes I take, it can be very different. So here it was not even a column, but here it's almost like 2 pages. So this setup just gives me the flexibility to use as much space as I want to. And yeah, that can be quite different. If I don't complete a task on a day, I don't migrate it immediately to the next day, as you might do in a bullet journal system, like migrating, like rewriting it. Because for me, I use about 4 to 6 pages for a week. This week it has been, 4 pages for my daily notes. So first of all, I think it's easy enough for me to flip through this couple of pages to see what still needs to be done. And also I have rather good memory, so I don't forget that quickly if I still have pending tasks. And so I don't see the need to rewrite everything every day. But what I do is once the week is over, then that's the moment when I would migrate tasks. And then that's also a time when I would use the red markers, just so when I go through everything that I have a better visual insight of, okay, what have I already migrated, or also when I go back that I see, okay, what has not been finished this week. And when I migrate my not completed tasks to the next week, some of them might end up in the boxes for the priorities of the day. So if I see that something that was really important did not get completed, I might just put it like in the box for Monday with the priority of the day, and keep them ongoing. Okay, so what else do I want to show you in here? I think, well, of course, I mean, all those black marks, or no, not black, but I just had to hide some sensitive information. Well, not super sensitive, because if it were super sensitive, I wouldn't even show it like with this very unprofessional way of masking data. But it's usually just like first names, things like that. And not that any of the names in my team are so unique that you would know, oh yeah, that's this one Michael on Earth that exists, that works in her team. But okay, so I think that is what I can share with you, or what I wanted to share with you. So how I use my weekly spread, how my daily pages look, especially also showing, okay, that's a real life example. It's not like this. Sometimes I see those really amazing looking daily task lists from people that just always perfectly fit into the same space. And it's just, well, some of the YouTubers admit that they do this just for the videos, which I can understand, simply because of the reason. I mean, it's sometimes difficult to share real life examples, and it just looks nicer. But here is the stuff, or how my notebook really looks after a week, how I use it on a daily basis. And I just hoped it was helpful for you, maybe if not helpful, at least interesting, or And yeah, maybe you use your journal in a completely different way or have tips for me what I could do to improve my journaling system. I'm always curious to see what other people do. That's obviously why I like to watch those videos in YouTube. So yeah, if you have feedback for me, I would be very happy to hear that. And hopefully you stop by again for my next video. Thank you for your time. Have a good day. Bye.